Wake up, everybody.
Today I'm bringing on my buddy David, who comes from generations of family members deeply involved in hot rods and classic cars. We discuss our current vehicle projects, ones prior, learning how to wrench versus taking your car to the shop, cell phone addiction, social media addiction, parenting, and we even take a shallow dive into the porn industry. If you're listening, our YouTube episode will be up shortly, so you'll be able to see the cars that we're talking about as well as the pictures of vehicles David decided to bring in.
But before we start, we've got to get the plugs for our affiliates. Buzzsprout. Have you been wanting to start a podcast? It's really not difficult when you have the right partners, and Buzzsprout is literally the place that you need to go. We use Buzzsprout, and it's easy. We record our podcast, set it up, drop it in, and they take care of the rest. From Google Podcasts to Apple and Stitcher, Castbox, whatever you listen to podcasts on, sign up with Buzzsprout, and you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card after your second paid invoice. Are you stuck at home, afraid to go to the grocery stores? They're overcrowded? Yeah, me too. I'm really sick of it. So Instacart. Give it a try. Instacart. Follow the link in our show notes and it'll let you know that we sent you. And multiple stores are available to have their shoppers hand select the items that you're looking for. Deliveries to your door in just under an hour. Check out Instacart, click on the show notes, and get the grocery shopping without having to leave your home. COVID's driving everybody nuts, and we're about to talk about that. And finally, sponsored by Rosie Cooks out of the greater Northern California wine country. Rosie Cooks is an absolute amazing team to work with. Look them up, follow them on Instagram, ROSEYCOOKS, and prepare to drool because her food is absolutely amazing. It is the step above everyone else. This catering company was built around one woman's vision and passion to infuse flavor in every item that comes out of her kitchen. RosieCooks.com and Newness Productions. NEWNESS Productions. Any of your videography or photography needs, from weddings to corporate events, commercials, and promos, Newness Productions does it all.
What about
enough of all that? Now let's get on with it.
Butthead.
Y'all talk about me?
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
This is ridiculous. It's crazy. I feel like I'm babysitting, except I'm not getting
I've
paid.
heard police work is dangerous.
It is. That's why I carry a big gun.
Aren't you afraid it might go off accidentally?
I used to have that
What
problem.
did you do about it?
I just think about baseball.
Declare.
Whose children is this?
Zed's.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
I gotta go to college. Danny, this isn't Russia.
For a disaster of biblical
What he means is Old Testament, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
Dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
That's what she said.
All right, cool, man. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
And let's kick it off. I like having you on because it mixes things up. Because you're not too big into politics, right?
No, not really.
I didn't think so. Which is nice for me because it narrows down the field so that we can just talk about cars.
Yeah.
Well, you already know about my projects.
Yeah.
You got mine, but yours goes back further. I'm fairly well versed. I'm probably more versed than your average bear, I guess you would say. But I'm not like, I'm not like some crew mechanic. Like there's still things that's like I'll have to learn about. It makes sense, It's like okay, got it. Or I'm not up on all of the modern engines, but it doesn't take long to like, okay, I get what they did there. Or why they moved that. But anyways, yours goes back probably as far as mine does. Kid.
Yeah. I came home from the hospital after being born in a 67 Ford Galaxie XL.
So you were born in a 67 Galaxie?
That's what I came home from the hospital in. That was our family car growing up.
But were you born in the car
No,
or in the hospital? Okay.
I was born in the hospital, but I came home from the hospital in it.
Gotcha. Because I was going to be like, that's kind of cool.
We've always had old cars, very few newer ones, and
Wait, okay, so I have a 67 Fairlane,
yeah.
and
So-
yours was a Galaxy XL. Wasn't that
Yeah.
the 4-door?
It was a 2-door, the full size.
Okay. So close though.
Yeah, close. They look very similar. The Galaxy was a full size, and the XL model came with the bucket seats, floor shifter, and just a little bit more upgrades. So, yeah.
I didn't even realize, like, I've always leaned more towards the Fords, and I think we've talked about this, but I didn't realize how much I love that Fairlane Galaxy body style until we picked this project up.
Yeah.
And it was like,
I feel like they're very underrated too.
Yeah.
That when people think of full size 60s cars, they'll think of the Impalas, the Cutlass, things like that, where the Galaxies, the Fairlanes don't get as much love, but I've seen them done up just as cool as any of those. And
yeah,
and I've always liked underdog cars.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. Like the darts. That's why I always send you
I
those
could go
darts.
the rest of my life and not see a Tri-5 Chevy and be fine.
I could go the rest of my life and not see a Mustang anymore.
Yeah.
You've seen them all when you know?
Yeah.
It's especially when you get into, I don't know, that light fastback model, that was probably the last good year.
Yeah.
Or one of the only good years.
Yeah. And I'm one of the few people in my family that hasn't owned a Mustang at one time. Both my parents had 65 Mustangs for their first cars.
Gabby had a 65. They had what was it? Didn't they have a 64 and a half?
64 and a half was
what was
the
the
first
half?
year. Because it came out mid-year when they released it.
And now all like the models that are released are 2021s, even though they're released in 2020 or
Yeah.
So you don't have to mess with the halves.
Yeah.
The 60s is probably my favorite body style.
Yeah, I do like 60s. And growing up, because we always had more muscle cars, 60s, full-size cars, a lot of Impalas, things like that.
So your dad worked on cars?
Yeah, my dad did. And then grandparents too, both grandpas. On my dad's side, he was more into the customs, where my mom's side was into the hot rods. And
that was hard to be. It was hard to have a custom shop 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays it's so much easier because you have access to the internet. You have parts galore left and right.
Yeah.
Unless you're building, of course, a 67 Fairlane and you can't find a fucking grill.
Yeah, that's
or head bezels to save
one
your
downside
life.
to a Ford, trying to find the parts, and when you do, they're
if it was a Mustang, it would be fine.
Yeah.
See, if it was a 67 Mustang, I could find headlight bezels probably all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, literally, I found like 3 in the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
I remember because the 67 Galaxy we had growing up, that was my first car, and trying to find even engine parts for it. And the 390 is a pretty common engine, but trying to find headers for that car was, you'd find them pop up and they're $800. But
yeah, well, everything was more expensive too, because again, it was harder to get.
Yeah.
I remember when we were when I was growing up, the first hot rod we worked on was a 56 56 wagon, but you know, it was it was a Nomad, but with 4 doors.
Okay.
I think it's kind of where my love for 4 doors might come from. Is I really do. I prefer 4 doors over 2.
I do on certain cars. There's a.
If it was okay, I agree. If it's like a race car and I want to really fuck around, I want to put then I want a 2-door. But for the most part, if I'm gonna own it, you know, outright, I want 4 doors. I want something I can share and, you know, use and get room and.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the 4 doors over the years, like the 59 Impala 4-door. I love that car. I love the 2-door version, but the 4-door, the shape of the top and everything on it with that wraparound back window, just beautiful design. Where it's like something like that, I would love.
Oh man, see, is that your forever? If you could have, okay, I'm gonna give you. I always like to play hypotheticals. You could own 3 cars for the rest of your life, but whatever 3 you choose, like that's it. You can do whatever you want to them.
I would have to say 36 Ford.
Ford what? Just
the coupe, the 5-window coupe, and build a little tail dragger out of it. Probably about
like a rat rod?
I would do it nice, shiny, just very, with especially pre-60s cars. I love the traditional customs, how it would have been built back in the 50s, the 60s, or before, when they're building them back then. But 36 Ford, I'd love to have a early Zephyr with a Lincoln V12 in it. And then third, I would have to say I'm not huge on El Caminos, but the 59 El Camino. That is, since I was a kid, that was one of my favorite.
Those are niche markets right there.
Yeah,
you have to really.
Yeah, it's. And I feel like the 90s with all the street rods just kind of ruined the market to find these for customs, because everybody took them and tried to be Boyd Coddington with the rip out that interior, just junk it, put the tan leather and over the top bubbly stuff, where it just drove the prices up for them, where it's gonna be hard to find a Zephyr for under 10 grand if it's a 2-door, and that's rusted out. You're gonna have to replace half the metal, no drivetrain, anything like that.
Everything's gonna get harder and harder to find, just because it's time.
Yeah,
look at time. These cars were so much easier to find back when we were in high school, because it was literally open the Auto Trader book, and flip through, and there was a bunch of them because everybody had them.
Yeah.
Now they're rusting out in people's barns or fields, and they're getting to the point of no return.
Yeah.
I know we looked at a couple where what they were asking was like, for what? We have to basically buy the entire cab. We have to buy like almost the entire. We're essentially what we would be buying is a frame. Like that's it.
Yeah. Well, I look at like the family car, the Galaxy, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
When my parents bought that, it was 1982, I think. If I remember right, my dad blew the motor in the Chevelle he had, and my grandpa loaned him like $1,500, and he went and bought this car. And my grandpa's like, "You really just spent your money on that?" Where at the time,
what year was this?
This would have been like 82, 83, somewhere around then.
He bought a 67 Galaxy.
Yeah, it had like 40,000 miles on it, completely stock.
What'd you guys end up doing with the car?
The Galaxy, I had it for years. It's in storage right now.
Oh, you still have it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Yeah, I don't have room to build anything, and other than the garage with my 54 Lincoln in it right now, and so that's what I want to focus on when.
So are you gonna sell that or keep that?
The Lincoln?
Yeah.
I initially bought it to sell it.
So you sent me photos, right?
Yeah.
Of your Lincoln.
Yeah.
Is this one it right here?
Yeah, right there.
Okay, so we're gonna pull it up here.
Yeah, I bought it to kind of just finish it up and sell it, because it is a
that's real smart.
Kind of higher money car once they're done. But
how long ago did you?
It would have been, I think, 7 years ago is when I picked up the car.
So with the white top.
Yeah, when I bought it, the top was all flat black.
Oh, so it was this when you bought it?
Yeah, that would have been only a couple days after I bought it right there. We went to paint the roof. We know it was already had a chop on it. We noticed how bad the chop was done in the back, so had to redo most of it before we sprayed it out white. Overall, it's a solid car, but
no, it's a beast of a car.
There's a lot of little things. Corners cut with whoever built it originally.
So, what is your love for these boats?
Well, like I said, I've always loved the underdog cars, and with it being a Lincoln and not a Merc, it's something that kind of throws people off.
everything below 55, between, let's say, what is it, like 40, 41 to 55, were just like these boats on the road.
Huge. And then, I mean, the Lincoln, the more I looked at it, that front bumper was incredible. I love the taillights on that one.
Yeah, I like the look of it.
I do eventually want to run a different front bumper and save that one for another project. But the more I saw the car, probably a year before I actually bought it on the Ham, and I was like, man, I really want one of those. And about a year later, had the money, saw this one I saw before pop up, and made an offer, and had the guy drive it up from LA. And
what's the motor in it?
It's just got a Chevy 350 in it.
Are you gonna keep that in there?
Eventually, I'd like to pull it out. Right now, I mean, it's a reliable motor I can find parts for. If I threw a Y block back in there, it's gonna be next to impossible to find Lincoln Y block parts.
Are you gonna try to keep it classic carbureted though?
Yeah, trying to keep it as traditional as possible, how it would have been built back then. Not a lot of modern stuff. If it's modern, it's going to be hidden on the car where it looks like a time capsule when it's done. And then the more research I did on these Lincolns, it was so ahead of its time when these ones came out. It had all new front suspension for 54 with ball joints, which weren't ran in cars then. The Panamera races, the Lincoln started throughout the field in 54, and they finished, I think it was first, second, third, and fifth, because of this modern suspension. It's one of the first cars that was offered with power seats and power windows, even though this one has neither of those. And
one of my top three, would be a Lincoln, but it's a '67 Continental.
Yeah,
that's one of my three. Yeah, I need to own a Continental before I die.
Yeah,
it was like one of my favorite. I like the cruise. I'm not a big go fast. I got all that stuff out of my system when I was young.
Yeah, same here. And I've got the 370Z if I want to go fast.
Yeah, I like to. You know what I like to go fast is like I took a trip to Arizona and I rented a car.
Yeah.
So if I have a rental car, I'll go fast. But if it's just me, but for the most part, I just like to cruise. So like a Continental would be perfect.
Yeah.
The front end of this car, yours looks like. Did you see that movie? Kurt Russell. Which one is it? It's like one of the Grindhouse movies.
Oh,
where he's got that car.
Bulletproof.
Death
Proof.
Death Proof.
Yeah, Death Proof.
There it is.
Yeah.
I forgot what car that was.
Was that a Nova maybe? But it had that big chrome front with I can see that with that kind of flat front end with the big chrome.
He had that duck on it. Oh no. Why was I thinking that looked like yours? Maybe I'm thinking Cobra. That doesn't look like yours at all.
Yeah.
What the hell was it that he had?
I mean,
it was a Nova, huh? You're right.
Yeah.
I was
it's
way
got
off.
all that chrome in the front with the flat black.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it. Oh, then I'm an idiot.
I did love the 71 Challenger in that movie. The one that
who does
the
it?
girls get.
Challengers are sick.
Yeah.
I love the Challenger. I love the Charger. I hate how hyped up the Charger got after Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like nobody knew what a Charger. Hardly anybody knew what a Charger was before that movie.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Vin Diesel makes it this sought after vehicle, and then everybody that has a Charger needs to recreate that car.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like.
I mean, even with like the Mustangs after Bullet came out.
Bullet and
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Eleanor.
How many Eleanor clones I've seen, and it's like the clones are all from the newer movie. It's not even the the original.
There's a lot of good cars in movies. We were just talking about Dukes of Hazzard, the one with Johnny Knoxville and Sean William Scott, and it was like just an obscene amount of Chargers that they crashed for that film.
Yeah.
Like, it hurt my soul. I was watching it and they were going through all the wrecks and how many times they tried to jump the car and how many they wrecked. And I was just like, I just want one. Just one.
Yeah.
One where the frame's not bent too much.
Yeah.
Anyways, but
going back to liking the underdog cars, like I appreciate the Chargers and stuff, but I'd take a Barracuda over one of those. Those, especially, what is it, the 67 with the huge glass back window. Because it's not as common. It's not what I see if I go to a car show, or if I do, it's rare, and it's seeing those get me so much more excited than...
I like those, but as soon as I see it, I like, okay, so one of my favorite, probably my other top three, I think it's which one is it? Is it the 70 or the 71 Riviera?
Boat tail?
Yeah, they have that weird back window. It's like a...
Yeah, I want to...
But you know, if you ever break that window or whatever, you know how much that's going to cost? Yeah. That's a custom window.
Yeah. Travis Barker's got a collection of boat tails.
I love those Rivieras.
Yeah.
Those are another ones that I'm just like, yes.
I helped build a 68 Riviera, and we put bags on it, and it was when the bag thing first started taking off. Couldn't find kits made for the car. The A-arms were rectangle in it. It took a lot of work to try to get those bags in it, and it paid off at the end. The car is beautiful, but it was...
I watched it, dude. We were... Which one is it? The Good Guys car show. Not San Ramon.
Oh,
Pleasanton.
Pleasanton, yeah.
Okay. So we used to go to the Good Guys car show all the time, and one dude was driving out with his airbags, you know, and I forgot what... It was like a 50-something truck, and one of them just blew out.
It had that happen to me on the Riviera. Sounds like a shotgun going out, and we had that car set up to... If you wanted to run big rims on it, you could.
Mm-hmm.
So... deflated, it just sat... It was about a 1/4 inch of clearance on that corner, and I was maybe a half mile from the house at the time, too, and then just sitting there trying to drive it back, and we had a switch go out, and the switch got replaced on accident with one that didn't pop back when you let go of it, so it just held on and just built up pressure till it blew the bag.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was...
I saw that dude blow his bags, and I saw the damage that they did on the body when as soon as it went into the gravel. And I was like, I never want bags. I'm good.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? You know, just... It wasn't... I just never... I always thought, like, suspension's fine.
A lot of that depends also on how you set it up, because you can set it up so you don't drag on the ground if a bag fails and stuff, but most people go over the top where the frame's sitting on the ground when it's deflated, which is all great when you're parked, but
doesn't work when you're driving,
and
especially if it goes out while you're driving.
And bag systems, they always leak over time. You're constantly have to replace little things here and there where they're not fail-proof systems like just suspension is.
We used to go to car shows all the time. We saw Christopher Titus there, and we met him. I know he's got a few hot rods.
Yeah.
My dad was big into rebuilding that 56, and that's kind of what I grew up wrenching on. And then, and I always wrenched on my own cars. I mean, you know, it saved money too. Yeah. Whatever. But my uncle had... See, before that, my dad actually had a 65 GTO.
Nice.
That he had when he was younger. He ended up selling it for, like, I think $800. It was, like, the #1 muscle car there for the longest time, too.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s. And they're just so... Those are another cars that you don't see.
Yeah.
Like, not only are they rare, but they are popular, you know, and they're hard to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a 65 Goat, and he ended up selling. And he always kicked himself. He had... I'm trying to think now. So then we had the 56, and my parents got divorced. They got rid of that. So growing up, you know, like just wrenching was a part of kind of life.
Yeah.
And hot
same
rods.
here.
Yeah.
And weekends, we went to car shows, cruise nights, things like that. Yeah, because I grew up with that. My grandparents on my dad's side, after my grandpa had kids and stuff, he didn't have as many old cars or anything. He always had this 41 Dodge pickup that was his dad's in the backyard, but that was about it. My mom's side, however, my grandpa always had cars. He had 69 Mach 1 Mustang that back in the 80s he was running high 12s in. Always other old cars. The last one he had was a little T-bucket that when I was about 14 I fit in that driver's seat, and after that I'm like, I don't know how anybody can drive this. My knees are up near my
Those
ears.
T-buckets are deadly, man. I don't like them at all, especially the ones where they have the steering wheel and in the center, that little. I don't. The rat rod thing is it's cool, it's neat, but it does not look comfortable in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean the whole rat rod thing, how it started out on building a car as cheap as possible. I do like that concept, but it just went a place I do not like with just let me try to make the most ridiculous car that
unfortunately
isn't even drivable, but I'm gonna still try to drive it and make it just look like junk. Because I mean, it started out, you wanted your car to look nice or be nice, but just as cheap as possible.
My uncle is my dad's cousin. He's probably more of a brother to my dad than his own brother was, and I grew up around them way more. He has a 69 Corvette Stingray, and he always used to take it to shows, but I remember him always giving everybody the warning, you know, when you get out of the car, make sure you step way out. Yeah. Because, you know, the 69.
Oh, you have the lake pipes on it.
Yep. He said everybody burnt their legs on those. They learned the hard way.
The Lincoln, with it being chopped, I have to warn people, watch your head getting in. And I think almost everybody that's rode in this car has whacked their head on the trying to get in or out at least once. I mean, I've done it several times, and I was used that to commute in for a while.
I feel like vehicle seats used to be more comfortable when we were younger. And now it's this uncomfortable.
It was springs with the foam, all that.
Was
and now
that
it's
what it was?
I think that was a big part of it. Because I mean, cars now, it's just kind of hard foam packed in there.
I remember. So I was looking at cars, and I went to this. Where was this? It was like a tow yard, and they were selling like stuff that they've picked up off of repos, you know, and in high school I had an 86 Camaro T-top, most comfortable to this day, the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in a car. Why? I have no idea. It doesn't look special, it doesn't, but I remember like the most comfortable ride are those seats for some reason, and I went to this tow yard to look at cars, and they had an 85, and I was like, hello, old friend. You know, I'm just like talking to it. I'm like, I gotta sit in it. And it even had like the ball shifter with the button that I had, but sitting in it was like, I want to pull these seats out and put them into one of these cars. But I'd have to have them like rewrapped or something, because they don't look like anything fancy whatsoever, but they just hugged you perfectly. Anyways,
that Lincoln, the seats in it is the one thing that's comfortable about that car. That seat, original seats, there's one little tear on the back of behind the driver's seat on the bench, but it's so cushy. Those springs are so nice in there. Even the back seat's comfortable, but
that's one thing I have to have on this Fairlane that we're redoing, because the Fairlane's going to be the forever car. And I have to have a good ride, so I'm going to have like some sort of really solid suspension that I'm not looking forward to shelling out for. But I do want it to steer and really ride smooth. I want it to be able to go down the old secret spot river road and not feel much. But do the ultimate test. But
Well, I mean, we discovered growing up, because with having the Galaxy for our family car, my dad and I would go on trips, go camping, way out off these logging roads, places that cars should have never went.
Right, but cars could go those places
I
back
remember us
then.
mangling the exhaust one time, trying to get over a cattle guard out in the middle of nowhere, where I'm like finding rocks trying to get it off.
Cars were made to make it, though.
Yeah.
Back then, they were, because
you watch the movies from like the 60s and the 70s, and you watch them just dive off the road in these cars through over rocks, where nowadays you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm taking a car through that.
We all went camping when I was in high school, and we had some girl that was coming with us with all her friends, and they weren't supposed to be. And I guess they didn't tell their parents, and the road was so bumpy, and they like bottomed out at one point. And it was like a Honda. It was just a cheap, Anyways, we camp. We go to get up the next morning. Car won't go into gear. So we find out that when she bottomed out, she punctured the tranny pan, and it leaked everything. So then there was like a reset. I guess there's like a reset way to. Anyways, long story short, she ended up having to call her parents and because get a tow. But yeah, cars aren't made to just go off just little roads anymore.
Yeah,
you'll fuck it up, man.
Yeah. Well, the Galaxy, I remember one time we were camping, and it was a couple miles back on this dirt road out near Mammoth Lakes, kind of before you hit there if you're going down 395, and the road was all washerboard out, and car just rattling and stuff. But we found if we got the car up over 70 on this, it just smoothed out. And quite the like dirt cloud behind us, and damn, yeah.
I did classics, and I am excited to get this one done. I'm excited to get the C10 done just to get it out of here. But cars nowadays are just, they're fun to be inside.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, I love the little 370Z I have. It's a blast to drive through the corners and stuff, but it just doesn't have the feel that a older car has. And from always having old cars, and then it's convenient having windows that roll up and down in the car, windshield wipers at work, but at the same time I do miss it.
That's why we're doing what we're doing with these, is making them more modern.
Yeah,
because that's always the allure to pull you away from classic cars. Is you don't, but then you got to have crank windows, and there's no AC, and the stereo's not that great, and the steering's not that great. Well,
my first car, the exhaust was too loud for the stereo that was in it, that when you're idling at a stoplight, you'd be able to hear some music, and as soon as you stepped in the gas, no music or anything.
I had a 71 GMC fleet side. In high school, and when I stepped on the gas, the cable on the throttle pulls back.
Yeah.
Well, there's this little rubber like grommet that goes over the cable, and for some reason I had to take that off eventually. But for some reason it kept, when I'd step on it, it would pull the cable open, but the cable would slowly seep in because the rubber grommet would almost like grab onto it.
Yeah.
And it would take forever so it would be wide open. It'd be like, Rah!
Yeah.
So I'm on my way to work, and I was a prep chef at the time, and it was just in high school, and I'm driving down Main Street, and the car is like, rub, because I'm pushing the brake and trying to get it to stop, but also, trying to drive it at the same time. Cop pulls me over. He's yelling at me, "Why you hot rodding on my fucking streets?" And I'm like, trying to tell the guy, this is my one time. I'm like, no, I'm not hot rodding. I'm on my way to work. The cable on my carburetor, and he's like, I've heard all bullshit excuses. Why can't you just be honest and tell me that you were fucking hot rodding? And I was like, you know what? Yep, you're right. I said, I'm so sorry. I was just like, at that point, I was like, I'm so sorry. I was just like, I'm losing this battle, and he's obviously not gonna look. Yeah. So, anyways. Old cars are rough, but that was it. Like, you had to know to tweak. That's what I'm saying, is if you grew up on old cars, you knew how to wrench.
Yeah.
They say, like, I had a 73 Volkswagen Beetle at once. Or once in I liked that car because you could work on it with a handful of tools.
Yeah.
Like that was what it was made for.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah, the Volkswagen motors, you can rebuild the engine in a day or two, pick it up yourself, put it back in the car.
Yep.
And with all the parts being interchangeable.
Also had a throttle cable literally break on that one. I had to like rewire it and use it by hand or something until I got back home to like run it under the car again. And...
So throttle cables, pretty funny story. My friend Jeff was getting married, and my cousin Daniel and I were in the wedding, and we decided to take his 66 Dodge Monaco there. As we're coming into the church, it's like gravel parking lot and stuff. His throttle cable gets stuck, and he has to. We come in, and the car is just tacked out coming in first gear, trying to slow it down. He had to slam it into park and kill the car as we're flying into this church with just wah, 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 wah. No exhaust on this car either. The 60s Dodges, we're trying to figure out how to put a muffler even on it, and it's the way it's routed, it's all unibody. There wasn't even room at the time. It was just like probably 4 foot of pipe coming off the exhaust manifolds.
Sorry, I was an idiot. I cut my mufflers off of my '86 Camaro
Oh.
all the way up to the cats because I was like, I still need the cats.
Yeah.
So I cut them all the way up to the catalytic converter, and my buddy in high school, he lived on my road, and he said I was his alarm clock for getting up for school because he would hear the car blah down the road, and he's all, time to get up for school. Eric's leaving because I left to go get my friends, and they would ride with me. But and then that car had such a bad tranny leak that I was always adding a quart like every week.
Yeah.
But it would leak onto the pipes, and then just
Just
everywhere
smoke.
I parked, it just smoked up.
Yeah, when I still lived at home, and it was like my mom would hear me come in with the Galaxy. Where we lived was kind of like right on one side of a ravine with houses and a park and stuff. But she could hear me turn off the highway like 2 blocks away because of the shape of it. The exhaust noise would carry to the house. I know when she was coming because I installed some subs in her car, and I'd hear that.
Thump, thump.
And she listened to metal and stuff, so I'd hear just this double bass coming through a sub. I'd just be like, all right, my mom's turning up off the highway right now.
It's stupid shit, man.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I got it all out of my system in my Camaro. I got yelled at by the neighbors. I would haul ass down the road.
Oh, yeah.
I'd eat donuts.
Yeah, I had plenty of people scream at me and just...
My F-150, I had an 84 F-150. Had a subs that I like zip tied under my seat because I was like a dipshit. Like I was in high school. And I didn't know what like sub boxes were. Anyways, I was listening to DMX on full volume because I thought my mom was gone, and I'm doing donuts in our back field, and all of a sudden, like I hear somebody yelling in the distance, and I stop and I turn it down. My mom's just yelling at me from the back porch. I don't know if she could hear what I was listening to, but she probably, Mom, don't listen.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember a couple times pissing somebody off, blowing past a cop too fast. One time,
I'd rev up my engine at cops.
115.
I would literally rev my engine up at cops just to fuck with them. Just be like, want to go? You know? Anyways.
Or one time in the Galaxy, I'm doing about 115. I pass a cop going the other way and see his brake lights go on, and just going as fast as I could back to the house, throwing the car cover on it, hopping in something and taking off just because I'm like, I'm not even going to drive the car for a few days.
Oh, man. I've never done that. Never.
Interesting, too, like, even between the Lincoln and that Galaxy, the difference in doing dumb shit or having super loud exhaust, because that Lincoln's straight piped with duals all the way out the back.
Yeah.
It sounds like a speedboat when it's sitting there idling.
Yeah.
And it's like the Galaxy, with it being more of a muscle car, cops are staring you down, this and that. You're worried about getting pulled over. Something in the 50s, like I remember one time taking it to the car wash down in Valley Springs, and I washed the car, and it's got the bias plies on it, which just squeal when you burn out in it. So I'm like, oh, it's all wet in here, and just start lighting them up inside the car wash. It's just echoing everywhere. Come out of the car wash, and there's a sheriff parked right there, just watching me, and I like just slowly creep by, and they're staring at me. They make eye contact and just give me a thumbs up. And I'm like, man, if I was in the Galaxy, I would have got
it's
ticket right there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Classic, it's having a classic car and having to be able to like drive it and work on it and stuff. It's kind of an accomplishment. You know, to keep it running is an accomplishment alone. I mean, anybody who has a classic car and doesn't have like a modern motor inside of it, if they can keep it running, you know, obviously they're good at what they do. I know my uncle was always wrenching on his. I mean, I don't know if it was for just upkeep purposes or if it was just adding new toys. And I do remember him saying he was in the Corvette once on the way. I think he was on the way back from a car show or something, and he lost like all gears but second or something. So he had to drive home in the Bay Area and all second gear. And anyways, it's
I've
different
had
generation.
to deal with that. I remember my shift linkage snapping on me.
Well, I'm pretty sure going to Bridgeport with your ass took my transmission out again because we had to take it back. Well, you know, I'm pretty sure Bridgeport did my my tranny in my brand new $4,000 transmission.
Yeah, it did the brakes in on our Sequoia, taking it over there, which that was the biggest nightmare of a car I've ever dealt with in my life.
Your Sequoia?
Yeah.
Are you getting it back? Because now
it's totaled out. It's at the house. We had to take it out of the tow yard because it was just racking up charges, waiting for all the insurance stuff to clear.
So do you guys keep the car, or is the insurance company taking it?
We're still waiting on all of it. But in case they don't take it, we didn't want it sitting at the tow yard. In a week and a half, it was $1,200 to get it out. Where it's like we would have waited enough till now, it would have been a couple thousand. Where it's not even worth it.
See, and that's but that's the dilemma that I see people get into all the time, and it's kind of why I'm leaning more towards maybe we should throughout time put money into classics and make them more modern. With the kids, if they get into a wreck like that, so if your lady was in a 56 Chevy or like a, you know what I mean? She probably would have been fine. Yeah. She probably would have had maybe a scratch or a seatbelt bruise.
Yeah. That was always our joke about driving the 60s cars growing up, that we hit a school bus, we're just going to go right through it.
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Like the
boats.
Galaxy, I remember
they're steel.
They're all steel. 3 times people hitting it, almost totaling out their cars, and we just drive off fine. The bumpers on it were a little tweaked from people hitting it, and
the people that know the most are like the tow trucks and the CHP or like any highway patrols, because they see that shit all the time where it just rolls and that stuff comes apart like a soda can.
Yeah. Well, with that Sequoia, her hitting a lifted truck and it just missing the bumper, just
I saw the picture.
Crushed everything in, pushed everything back, and
it's.
I'm sure the firewall came back a little bit, and that's
Gabby's
part
like,
of the reason.
Oh, I want a Sequoia. She's like, I want a Sequoia, one of the safest cars. Look at you, just look so protected and safe in there. And I'm like, what do you see that I'm not seeing?
Yeah.
You know, like, because I see a lot of real thin metal, like real, if almost aluminum. Yeah. You know, it's seriously, when you can push the side of a car with your finger and push it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Think what a fucking vehicle's gonna do to that at 80 miles an hour, or you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it's gonna come off like paper.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
But with these boats, that's why I want my kids. My oldest, God, he's like 2 years away from his permit.
Yeah.
Scary shit.
Now I'm trying to get the older kids somewhat into cars, try to find them a project now so they can have something old
that's what we're doing.
They'll be safe in, and if something happens to them, they know how to fix it. I feel like Hallie, especially being a girl, being able to fix her own car. Like I told her, I was like, we'll find you something cool if you want, and I'll teach you how to work on it. We'll build it so you have this badass car, truck, whatever you want, this older one. That way, when you're in high school and the little fuckboys and their V6 Mustangs try to come at you, you can smoke them and...
Oh, yeah. I say it to Gabby all the time. I say, I'm going to be really hard on Billy. And she's like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, I am. Like, I love her to death, but she needs to be tough. And the world is harsh and cruel.
Yeah.
She needs to learn how to change her own tire, change her own oil. She needs to be able to, like... be able to tell what's going on with her car. She needs to be able to stand on her own 2 feet and not need somebody.
Run into that problem with my ex that didn't even know how to put air in her tires. And I'm like, you should...
brother.
And try to explain this stuff to her. And she's like, when am I ever going to need to know this on what this smell is or what this sound is? And then she would break down and just be like, well, you see, if you would have...
you remember that time when you
been
asked...
like, oh, that's burning oil. That's... power steering fluid. I'm overheating kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. No, don't turn the volume up.
Yeah.
That's not what that means.
Yeah.
I told when we needed to do a flush on our radiator. It's like, Gabby, watch the temperature. If it goes above the middle, you gotta stop. You've gotta so. Just little things like that. You have to know that.
Yeah.
Not everybody realizes that when your temperature gauge goes above that halfway mark, you are now on a countdown to when you need to pull over and turn your engine off now.
Oh, yeah.
Like now. Like not all pull over in a mile or two now.
Yeah.
Because once you go past that 3/4 mark, you're looking at massive engine damage.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at warping your
ran
cylinders.
Into that problem with that with the Z, taking it out down to Arizona, out in the Nevada desert, and I mean, there's nobody around. I'm not dropping below 90, 100 miles an hour, and I had somebody in a Ford Raptor pass me, and I'm like, I can't let a truck pass me.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, 152 miles an hour to catch back up, and probably about an hour later, I'm like, the car is getting hot, and ended up having a pinhole in one of my hoses and have to sit there and baby it out in the desert. Luckily, I found one little store on the side of the road that at least had distilled water, and it was enough to make it till I could get some antifreeze and stuff. And it's
one of the things those tricks.
Yeah, and one of the things that my parents taught me that I should have did then instead of just driving it with the pinhole was from dealing with that with old cars was you can take a pair of pantyhose and tie it tight around the where the pinhole is, and it'll hold it for 100 miles at least if you need it.
I thought there was like a thing too. Isn't there a trick where you can crack an egg inside the radiator?
I'm sure that
something like that.
You can do stuff like that. Cigarette butts too will because they'll break down in the antifreeze, and those fibers will plug little holes and stuff too. That's a good one if you have a leak in your radiator. You can throw a couple cigarette butts in there.
Yeah, people don't. And to answer your ex's question is, when do you need to know that? Well, you need to know it if you have plenty of money in your bank account. Don't worry about it. You don't need to know it because you got plenty of money. Yeah. But you need to know it because it's the difference between an $400 repair and a $4,000 repair.
Exactly.
I mean, that's literally the difference. Is you having that knowledge to look at your engine and go, gotta turn it off.
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, it's smoking. Don't push harder on the gas. You know, my ex one time, it started like shake, and she puts her foot in. I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean go harder.
Yeah.
So, anyways, people don't know though, especially this new generation coming up. And that's why I fear for my kids is I need that. Oh, so going back to that, sorry, I'm making them pick a car. And they're gonna pick a body, and we need a frame, and we need a body, and then we're gonna do the same thing out here. We're gonna put a modern engine in it, and we're gonna modernize it, but they're gonna do it with me.
Yeah.
And they're gonna learn what each item does, and then they can choose to sell it, keep it, whatever. But I want them to just like 4-H, FFA, all that, learn and get some experience, so that you can go out in the world.
I feel like that's one of the big problems with the world right now is people don't have that real world experience for anything.
You know who's really
when
busy?
I went to high school, we did have auto shop, but
it doesn't exist
all
anymore.
the other shops, and
bullshit.
People don't have the skills like with this
And you know who
pandemic
are
and the
very busy
shutdown
right
and
now?
stuff,
Are mechanics.
Yeah.
Mechanics are slammed out the wazoo because all the generations that can drive now, it's a minuscule percentage that can even change their own tire.
Yeah.
Let alone know where their own jack is in the car.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I know, like, when I bought the Audi that I had before the set A3, everybody's like, don't do it, it's so expensive for maintenance and stuff, and it's because people don't know how to work on it. Yes, the Audi, I had to buy a lot of specialty tools to work on it, but a $20 socket will save me $1,200, and it works, this car works the same as another motor. Suspension works like other suspension, where that saved me a ton, being able to do something myself on it, and not the one time I took it into Audi, everybody warned me that it's gonna be about $4,000. It was just for tune up, check the timing belt, stuff like that, and yeah, it ended up costing me $1,800. They wanted to do $4,000 worth of work, and I'm like, I can do my own brakes.
Yeah,
I can change.
Oh my god! You know, like, people get, it's simple.
Yeah.
Doing your own brakes is very, very simple. You need very, very minimal tools.
Yeah.
I mean, the most that you need is the biggest helpful is the C clamps.
Yeah.
So that you can decompress the calipers. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the cheapest tool, and those are like $6-7 a piece.
Yeah.
You know, but nobody knows how to do their own brakes.
Yeah.
Nobody. Gabby doesn't know how to do brakes. And she's credit to her though, because she's always telling me I need to learn. You need to show me so I can. And I agree with her, because if something happens to me at any point, you know, I want her to be able to do certain things.
Yeah.
Especially if she needs to cut costs.
Yeah.
But I want all my kids to. Everybody needs to learn how to work on
and
their
that's
own car.
something we've been talking about with the kids, of teaching them
Common sense,
and just
logical,
regular
common
life
sense
skills and stuff. Like,
I've always
the
said
whole
that.
pandemic shutdown, we're like, how many of these people are gonna
wake up?
Yeah, how many of these people are gonna survive if stores get shut down? Do these people know what they can pick out of their yard?
Oh, I've already heard of
Do they know how to butcher an animal if they need to? Do they know?
I've had brides already. One bride canceled her wedding within a month from the wedding after COVID. Not because of COVID, but because, well, maybe because of COVID, but because COVID showed her how useless her fiance actually is when they're reliant on each other, and that she had cold. So it's like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah. And with
nobody's self-sufficient anymore.
No, and that's something I'm glad, like, growing up poor, we were self-sufficient.
Yes.
And like, my grandma had a huge vegetable garden. She raised animals, stuff like that, where we were around it. We know how to do that kind of stuff. My girlfriend grew up in a hippie commune in a little shack with dirt floors. Like, they farmed the land. They raised animals. They drank goat's milk because they had goats. And
it makes you appreciate, I think, a lot of things more. And you see how people can be blinded or distracted by a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
we were talking a little bit about that last night. But before we get into that, people are self-sufficient anymore. You hear about kids that...
Well, I look at, like, my grandpa on my dad's side. He grew up at 12. He was driving trucks, and
Jesus, how do you drive trucks at 12?
They were working in farms in Kansas, and at the time, if you were doing it for work, they were allowing driver's licenses to kids.
That's crazy.
So he was working out in the fields, driving trucks to the...
I knew, like, farm trucks. Like, you could do that on your
he
farm.
Would be out there, like, collecting wheat and taking it to go get processed and stuff.
That's crazy.
And, like, he ran away from home pretty much when he was 14, 15 years old, lied about his age, joined the Navy, and fought in World War II. And it's like, kid nowadays wouldn't be able to... I mean, it'd be harder for him to do that, but a kid nowadays wouldn't have lasted doing that. Be 15 and join the military.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
During wartime, too, and it's just like...
Well, we're always at war.
Yeah, but...
it's... No, and I think, I agree with you, life skills, I've talked about that a lot. It's like, why are we making certain classes mandatory when what students face with, what I faced with when we got out of high school was, you better budget.
Yeah.
You better know how to cook.
Yeah.
Or at least order from
I
Taco
lucked
Bell.
out with that kind of, not so much budgeting, because, neither of my parents seemed to be great with budgets, things like that, but just typical life skills, cooking, cleaning, laundry, things like that. My mom taught me early on. She's like, you're probably not always going to have someone to take care of you. You should probably learn how to do this stuff. Be a sufficient adult. And it's like, I feel like high schools should focus more on trades and stuff like that. So,
well, high school's supposed to be there to get you ready for the real world, right? I mean, whether it's college or work, like the workforce or whatever, you're being released as an adult into the real world. Or you're going to be released to the next level of education and to get you to the real world. So, that being said, why would we not teach our kids, like, hey, here is a way to make meals for 3 days under $20?
Yeah.
Here is a way that you can save $40 and make sure that you have your car working for you every day, and you don't blow your motor by doing this one quick oil change. All you need is you need the right socket set for the plug, and that's it. Like, you just buy a new filter and know how to screw it on, and that's it.
Exactly. And I mean,
it is literally an oil change is one of the most simplest things. It is what it sounds like. You look for a bolt, which is called the plug. When you find that, you unscrew it and let it drain. You put it back in, you unscrew the filter, you put a new one in, and you fill it back up. That is it. And, and people pay $40 to $90
that try to do their oil change, and they didn't know what they were doing and filled up when they were putting oil in all the way to the top. They didn't know you're supposed to only use this many quarts, that there's a
and then wait and use the dipstick.
Yeah, so they drown
there's little
the
things like
motor
that,
in
or
oil.
don't over crank the plug.
That
just
too.
get it nice and snug, and that's it.
And that's been over the years, like when I was working construction, we'd have to take our work vans in for oil changes just because we didn't have time to do it ourselves. And how many times we had our oil plugs stripped because they were over tightening it. We took the vans to Walmart to get an oil change once. Horrible idea. They overstripped it and then just used a piece of a shopping bag around the bolt and put it back in.
They don't do that
anymore. Tell us.
So I've used Walmart a couple times just for the convenience. It's like, I got to change the oil, but we're also here at Walmart. While we're shopping, they've got time. Let's just get it done real quick. They don't do that anymore. They suck it out of the dipstick.
I know a lot of the more modern cars, some of them don't even have the drain plug. That's how they have to do their oil changes.
Yeah, I guess that's what they were telling me. I brought, what did I bring in? I think I brought in somebody else's car once, and they said that they remove it out of the dipstick. They don't even go through the nut anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, it is weird to me too, but I guess it would probably make sense if anyways, just lawsuits. They're left and right. But no, going back to that is like, so you go back 30 years, almost, I would say the majority of the population probably knows how to change their own oil. You go forward 30 years today. Not anymore. I mean, that's really sad. And I say that because it can save you money. It can save college students money. It also can teach you how to save a lot more money. I'm not talking about $40 to $90 just a month. I'm talking about saving your engine. I'm talking about $4,000, keeping you from a point where it goes kablooey, you throw a rod or whatever, and then you're sitting there with a bill. That transmission bill alone was like, what? But because it's such a new car, it's stupid. It's stupid, but that's why I'm taking these cars, because no matter what, they'll appreciate. Unless we wreck it, they'll appreciate.
And that's how I look at the Lincoln sitting in my garage. It's almost a savings account. It's not going to go down in value.
if you have the skills. And like what you were saying is like I grew up in we had a shop that we had built, literally built. We built our house, or my parents built their house, and then they built the shop. The shop I think was a little bit more square footage than the house.
Yeah.
Like it was like either equal to or greater than square footage of our own house. And so we had like a one area that we kept our boat, but that was going to be the paint booth area, you know. So my dad had a separate breaker just for his giant stand-up air compressor. So I mean, we had a sweet setup. We really did to work on vehicles. Even it was all insulated too in the shop, so everything was like nice and cold if you needed it to be. Anyways, we spoiled. So I grew up with these skills not only here, but I also took metal shop in school. So it was like cool. This is like at home, you know, starting an acetylene torch, messing around, doing all that stuff. This is like home. But learning all those things now has allowed me to be able to, there's a crack in the frame, I can grind it down, I can weld it, or I need to fabricate something, I can weld it, I can work with sheet metal, I can body work, I can, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about that, especially right now, is I can apply that to selling that truck out there.
Yeah.
But you can also apply it to your own vehicles.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that Fairlane to get up. I'm excited to when do you think you're actually going to get your Lincoln done?
I don't know.
That's always a question. Is everybody picks up projects and then they sit.
And
I don't want that.
My goal, since I've been trying to set up this garage at the house for a little bit over a year now. When I first moved in, that garage you couldn't even walk in. There was so much stuff packed in there, and then the way it was set up, it had half of it kind of boarded off of a wall, making it a small garage when there's room for, if with that down, 2 more cars in there if we needed. And slowly gathering tools, because I lost a lot of those over the years. I'm hoping this winter I can at least start doing a few of the things that I want to do to the car, because I want to do a little bit more custom work. I want to and be able to take my time and do it exactly how I want it. It's not being rushed in a driveway somewhere.
Yeah, I would love to have a nice giant shop to be working in right now. We've looked at a couple to possibly rent, maybe open up one, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah,
we can sell the truck first. We'll see what happens. People should definitely know how to work on their own vehicles. Carbureted is a whole nother. I'm kind of anti-carbureted at this point. It's just so much to fuck with, you know.
It is, but I feel like if something goes wrong, it's a lot easier. If you need to fix it on the side of the road somewhere, you can do it. And that was with even modern ignition, stuff like that, compared to a point system. You have points in your distributor, it starts not firing, you pop it out, you grab a file or some sandpaper, you can clean it up and get yourself home. And that's one thing I do like about like carbureted vehicles, point systems, things like that, where when something goes out, there's a way to at least limp back home, not you're stuck and need a tow truck.
Yeah, that's true. Well, when you're done with yours, I'll probably end up being done with mine, so we can go cruise. But I think every kid should know how to wrench on something. I know my son wants to. I told my kids, pick a car. My one son, he picked a '66 Dodge Dart.
Nice.
And he wants to put, what engine did he want to put in it? Something stupid. He wanted to put, okay. So he wants, car guys listening, I'm sorry, this is going to hurt a little. My son wants a 66 Dodge Dart, and he wants to put a Mitsubishi Eclipse Spider motor in it. And at first, you know, obviously your classic muscle car instincts are to go rah rah rah. But then I was going,
if my son's gonna be in a muscle car, do I want him in a V8?
Yeah.
With the and so because I started thinking about my lead foot, and I'd rather have him in a four banger pushing that steel cage around
Yeah.
than anything. And my other son, what is it that he wanted? I'm trying to remember. Can't remember which one it was, but basically that's the gist of it is we're gonna make them work on their own cars. They got to pick something, and then we're gonna pick out a modern motor, and I'm gonna cap it at 6 cylinders.
Yeah.
So they need to pick something with 4 or 6 cylinders, and we'll get a car with the weight enough that's light enough for it to push it, but I don't need them in 8 cylinders.
Yeah. Trying to get the older kids kind of into cars. I have this book, and it's American cars from 1940 to 1970, and it goes over all the different makes, production numbers, what's different from year to year, and like handed the oldest boy Caleb the book, and I'm like, look through it, look at the pictures, see which cars you like, which ones you don't. I figured he was going to come back with the high dollar cars like most kids will, because they've seen the 57 Chevys, the shoebox Fords, things like that. It actually surprised me. He picked late 40s, early 50s Mopars, and that's something that there's so much potential in those, and they haven't taken off like everything else, where you can still pick them up for a decent price. I'm like, this
got
is
that
doable.
good body. I like the Mopars,
and I mean,
I'm always sending you Mopars.
The Mopars, I feel like interior wise, they're ugly, basic looking, but they
that's easily fixable now.
Exactly, and that's the one thing. That's why I love the custom cars so much, because you can take these cars that were ugly and just be like, well, I like the taillights off this car. I think that would look better on there. I'd like these headlights, these bumpers, and make this into something one-off how you feel like it should have looked from factory.
Well, that's what I mean by nowadays is you can literally buy any of that shit.
Yeah.
You can buy memory foam. You can buy door panel cutouts. You can buy stuff to make door panel cutouts. You can watch a YouTube video on how to do it 10 different ways, whereas in 10, 15 years ago, you had little to zero YouTube videos teaching you anything.
Yeah.
That's my point. Is like it's so accessible right now. It's almost like a gold rush kind of, you can make these cars custom, look clean, and you can do it for a budget.
Yeah.
You really can, because there's options out there. Like I said, back when I was a kid, Tognottis or that was it. Like that was either Tognottis or Summit Racing. You got those catalogs, and that's what you skim through.
Yeah.
Anything else was whatever you found in magazines, in car magazines, in the back pages. It was like who's selling what.
Yeah.
And if
looking
anybody's
through the buy and sell to see cars.
Yep. So, but the Mopars, I love the 60s too. The 60s in between like 62 to 68, 69 Mopars. They all had that straight, clean body lines right before the gas crisis, and everything kind of went to shit, and being all functional. And anyways, but those clean bodies, I love it. That's why I love the Fairlane. And darts, most of those Mopars, like they have that style. So if you build them up and you make them semi-modern, and you can clean up the body, they look beautiful.
Yeah.
They're head turners, no doubt about it, because there's no other cars on the road like that.
Yeah. I find like especially the 60s stylings interesting after seeing like with the late 50s, the whole space age influence on the cars and everything, and they were so over the top with designs, things like that, and it was almost like they took a step back, and they're like, let's just make clean looking cars, have the nice flat slab sides again, not be so in your face, which I do appreciate about the late 50s but at the same time, it is nice just to have something clean. And
yeah, it is. The late 60s, early 70s, everything started to get tight.
Yeah.
The seats started to get tight. Everything started to kind of come in. But the Mopars have plenty of potential.
Yeah.
Did you see this thing I posted up here? This R67 is a Tesla model with a Mustang body.
Huh.
It's like completely electric.
Pretty interesting.
And I posted this, I was all, okay, so now electric cars have my attention.
Yeah.
It's
Huh.
it's mean looking.
Yeah.
And I actually like the little flare here.
Yeah.
That almost looks like a Firebird,
Yeah.
right here with a Mustang front end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That 68 Firebird kind of flare out.
Yeah.
And then I guess this is all the interior.
Huh.
Wild, right?
Yeah. I do think with the electric car thing kind of moving away from just being eco-friendly
Look at that.
into more performance-based.
That's what I want
It's-
my interior to look like. Except
That's
I don't like the
clean.
steering or the
Yeah.
steering wheel. I don't like that.
Yeah.
The shape. I don't like that flat part right here. But that's what I want the inside of my Fairlane to look like right there. I want it to look modern. I want you to shut the door and it go.
Yeah.
I mean, I want you to sit in it and go, this is a classic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If any car company were to start making these, as this sits right here, if Ford started making these electric, these would fly off the shelves.
Yeah.
Fly off the shelves because of the shape of this car. I don't think they get it. They keep trying to go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to it, go back then.
Yeah.
Don't go halfway back. Don't do a hybrid. Go back. Do
Yeah.
the hybrid in the inside. The outside is what people like.
Yeah.
That's what's attractive. That's why as soon as I saw this car, it was, oh.
I will say with the retro styling, it has gotten a lot better than when they first started bringing that back. You look at the Thunderbird when they
Remember
did that.
the Chevy truck when they tried that?
Oh
That
yeah,
ugly round truck that was like, we're sorry.
HHR,
They like stopped making
yeah.
it. They're just like, we're sorry.
Yeah, the Thunderbird, the PT
That was
Cruiser,
PT Cruisers.
just like
that was that whole little movement there in the early 2000s.
yeah, the Plymouth Prowler, which I mean,
the Prowler I kind of dig. That's the one concept car where I was like,
technology on it was incredible, and how they modernized it, but it didn't take off. And now seeing the Mustangs, the Challengers, stuff like that, even when they first started with the retro styling, it was, but the newer Mustangs look a lot more like older Mustangs, and it's definitely come a long ways with it.
they do, but then they keep throwing in that like that 90s, late 90s, wide feel to it.
Oh yeah,
they
the street
can't
rod
get rid
and-
of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost like this. It's like a body kit almost.
Yeah.
Whereas in something like this, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's classic. It's almost classic through and through.
Yeah.
On the outside, at least. I mean, why not? You've already tried a PT Cruiser. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what? Dodge, you want to make a comeback? Or Plymouth, you want to make a... who owns Plymouth now?
Plymouth, it's still Dodge, I
No,
think.
not Plymouth. Not
Or
Plymouth. Sorry, Pontiac.
Pontiac?
Or is it just Pontiac?
Are they still making Pontiacs?
I don't think so.
That might be one of the brands that GM killed.
That they absorbed?
Yeah, because I know Oldsmobile, they don't do anymore. I think Pontiac too, they might have. No, because they still have the vibes. So it's all GM.
You know what would be sick? Is if Pontiac made a car like this, but with a modern engine or an electric engine, but they did their Firebird with the gold the bird on the hood, but with the old body, and I'm not talking the 70s, I'm talking the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, that if they just did that body,
The old Screaming Chicken Firebirds.
yeah, I mean, because essentially that's the Camaro body.
Yeah.
So they would almost beat Camaro to the punch of even getting there.
Yeah.
If Pontiac's even a thing, I don't even know if I think Pontiac might have gotten absorbed.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Pontiac in a while.
This is, again, if you're gonna go here, just go here like these guys did.
So what do you think about new Bronco?
I kind of like it. I kind of dig
too.
it. That's one new vehicle where I'm like, okay.
I feel like they got it right with it. Especially looking
Did you see
at
that they took it on the Rubicon?
No, I didn't.
You didn't see that?
Oh,
Yeah, it was like this whole look. Ford sticks it to Jeep by taking the Bronco on the Rubicon.
yeah. I was reading like side by side comparisons between that, the different options and stuff. But seeing that and seeing the new Blazer, that Ford definitely got it right with that one compared to Chevy.
I didn't see the Blazer.
Oh,
I didn't see it.
it doesn't look like a Blazer.
I don't.
It's like a crossover SUV.
Gabby is a Bronco nut, but for like the late 70s.
Uh-huh.
She loves those Broncos. I'm trying to find the Rubicon one, but yeah, I did see the new Bronco. That's really pretty.
Yeah.
That is really, really. It's a pretty fucking car.
Yeah.
I would own that.
Yeah. And then reading with the different packages, what's offered and stuff, that it's I feel like it's a good step to the right direction for them.
So my stepdad actually he ordered like a custom 2020 Mustang, and he was super stoked for it and everything. Ordered it, got it, drove it home. Didn't like it. Turned around, drove it back. I mean, he just didn't like it. It was shocking because of how much he talked about getting it. And I mean, for like 2 years, he was like, they're coming out with this new package. Yeah, he just didn't like it.
Huh.
Really weird. But I can't relate. I'm not a Mustang guy.
Yeah.
I look at Mustangs. When I was watching Fast and Loud, I was listening to Aaron Kaufman talk about Mustangs, and he's like, and I was like, that's exactly how I feel about it. Is like, I don't have anything against Mustangs. I just don't see what everybody loves about Mustangs. Like, I don't see what the appeal is.
Yeah. I mean, they did change the course of cars at the time when they first came out, but
there's so many of them.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I guarantee I walk down the street here, you have at least 2-3 neighbors with a Mustang.
I can point out a 5.0 that's right over here. I mean, now that's the thing, is that's what sucks, is because when the 5.0 Mustangs are literally the ugliest Mustangs, but I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. Those late 80s are late 80s, 90, right before 92, I think. They're the ugliest. Yes, Mustangs, but they have the strongest and one of the best fucking motors. That's why I have a Fox body motor in the Fairlane.
Yeah.
Is because it's like, it is one of the strongest Mustang motors that they've built.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks, is because they put it in the ugliest Mustang model they could possibly could have.
That's what I feel about with some of the older Mopars, like some of the 50s ones, especially early 50s Mopars. Some of them are so ugly, but that was that early 331 Hemi. And same with some of the Caddies that had such a strong motor that everybody's after now.
Yeah, they're like bulletproof.
Yeah.
I mean, the 5.0 motors, man, those were not, like I said, it sucks that they put them in such an ugly car.
Yeah.
But they're fast. I remember being downtown one time, and this dude was just rolling, and it was just all cobblestone in downtown, so you had to like drive your car real slow, and just listening to it go blah 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 as he's just idling through, and it was just echoing off the buildings. And boy, I mean, we grew up going to like the drag races, especially out near Sac Raceway, and my dad's good friend was a crew chief mechanic for Mighty Mouse, the drag race car, and dude's like a mechanical wizard. I've always bounced stuff off of him, and he knows, and especially when we were looking at these cars, I'm always reaching out. But and he was in my life a lot too growing up. Like, that was kind of the mechanic I bounced a lot of stuff off of, and always helped my dad out with stuff. Anyways, but those Mopar cars, I mean, you take those and you put any basically bulletproof fuel injected engine in it now, they're sought after. People don't want them, but nobody doesn't work on them anymore. You know, like it's really,
nobody knows how to work on them. Everybody thinks that they do. They like look at it as an overall package and like, oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that. And then they get into it and they start lifting up a little bit of rust and they pull off a little bit of sheet metal and they're like, fuck.
Well, going back to like dealing with cops with the old cars, I remember going to Starbucks down in Valley Springs in the 54, and I'm in there on my laptop. The car's parked out front. I've got no hood on it. I mean, there's Brody knob in there, which is illegal in California, all this stuff. And I'm on my laptop and I look up and I can see this cop just circling the car, looking inside, comes in, looks at the crowd in there, and obviously me being covered in tattoos, and I was probably wearing a sleeveless shirt and stuff, and he just zeroes in on me, and he's like, "Is that your car?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's so cool to see someone younger that can actually have an interest in this, that's actually working on something." That he's just like, everybody just takes their car to the shop. They don't have. It's like this needs to live on, and
Yeah.
and luckily I've got a pretty good group of friends that are all into this too. We had our little car club for a while, and
It's an expensive hobby.
yeah, definitely.
That's why I don't know if I want it to be a hobby. I want it to maybe flip some dollars for me. You know, just sell this truck. Maybe we'll go get another one. You know, type of deal. And I wish I could remember all my dad's stories with my uncle. I know in the goat they had a fix-it ticket from an officer because their pipes were too loud. So all they did was they drilled 2 holes through the pipes like that, right? Stuffed steel wool in there, put bolts in there to stop it from kicking out, and then went down, got the fix-it ticket signed off, pulled the bolts out.
So we did that lunch, but once my friend had this little Ford Ranger that just had a glass pack on it. The thing was super loud, got a ticket, and we packed that muffler full of steel wool. Like, I don't even know how we got that much in there. And went to go get it signed off, and it sounded like the truck was dying, just wheezing, trying to get exhaust out of it. And the cop's sitting there looking at it. He's just shaking his head because he knows exactly what we did, but can't. He's not going to reach his hand into a hot muffler to pull it out, and ended up signing it off. But
yeah,
then it was good.
This is
half
like
an hour of trying to pull steel wool out of there because we put way too much in there.
Oh jeez. If it's not too bad, if you're not being obnoxious or anything, typically they don't. It's not even worth their time, especially now. It's not even worth their time. You know, I have buddies that are officers that were like, unless it's like a brick of weed. It's
also
not worth their
interesting,
time.
depending on what the vehicle is, to if they're gonna mess with you for exhaust. Because you look at if you're driving a little Ricer Honda with loud exhaust, you're gonna get pulled over 10 times more than if you're driving a lifted diesel or something with that's 10 times as loud as that Honda. I noticed that even with the older cars, like I've been more sketch being in little Japanese cars with loud exhaust than I have ever in an American-made 60s car that's 10 times as loud.
Right. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's just different. People need to pump the brakes a bit.
Yeah.
Well, what we were talking about was the way you grew up. You appreciate things, and that's kind of what's cool about cars is you appreciate how much work goes into everything, and other people's work, and it's not just handed over to you. We were watching that show you told Gabby about, Love
on the Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum, and it was kind of heartbreaking because it was like I worked with a lot of disabled kids, physical and mental, and it was actually one of my very first trips to Missouri, that's where I went for, was to go work with them, and it was like it's heartbreaking because, and I'll tell you why it runs parallel to what you were saying. It was heartbreaking because what I took from it, what I think I've always pulled from it in my everyday life, is people like us, we sit here and we bullshit and we want a 67 Continental, you want a Zephyr, you know, we want a house with a wraparound porch. Like, that's the cap. Those are our ceilings, where that's like where we made it and we feel we're accomplished.
This kid just wants to hold somebody's hand.
Yeah.
You know, like these people that are autistic, it's like their ceiling is literally they just want somebody to talk to every day.
Yeah.
And it's like fucking heartbreaking. You know, it's just like Jesus.
Yeah.
It pulls your heart from your chest because you realize like they won't have I want a Ferrari. I want a 2-story home. Like their 2-story home is literally finding somebody just to hold their hand every day.
Yeah.
Like that's their 2-story wraparound house porch home. You know, like so. But when you work with these kids and these people like that, it really makes you appreciate life in a way, in a sense where every single day it's like I'm stoked that I have the ability to just go get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know, or
I
a candy
think
bar.
about
or
that, like even where I'm at in life to where I've been in the past, and knowing that I can go do something if I want to. I can, like, even with the house, if I want to plant plants, I can. I have the ability to. I can do this where there's so many people that aren't in this situation. The beginning of the pandemic, we're talking about how bad it would suck to be in the middle of some city in a little apartment and have to be quarantined like that. At least
Well, that's what
we're
we're
on
dealing with.
acres, and
you're
we
not
have
going to be
fresh
dealing with that
air.
much longer. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean, the people are moving up here like crazy.
Yeah.
People are there's houses. The housing market's on
Oh yeah.
fire right now because people are going, what? That's how many square foot? No, we don't need to see it. Well, here's our
Yeah.
offer. They're picking it up because of the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, I hope with that too, people go back to more of a simpler way.
Not gonna happen.
I know it won't, but
It's
wishful thinking.
Yeah, that's very wishful thinking.
Oh, I've got land. Maybe I should
That's
plant a garden because I can.
To think like that is to think. Okay, that's like that lady that I posted. Did you see that? Where it was a Fresno lake. That lady that goes ape shit. That like literally has a meltdown because the people aren't wearing masks.
Oh,
or
yeah.
no, they wouldn't move or something like
Yeah.
that. And yeah, that there you go.
Yeah.
Those are the people moving in to rural America.
Yeah.
So no, they're not gonna be thinking that way.
No.
We went up to the lake earlier, and you could just tell everybody from the city because they're standing in the lake with masks on.
Yeah. No, and with that too, with the influx of people coming up here, the amount of garbage and things getting destroyed, like I have no desire to
Zero.
go out there.
Zero.
And it was so beautiful.
I wish you didn't even say it online on
and
there
it's
because
like,
it's just
people
are
That's
flooding
part
it.
of the reason why Pavi started this Highway 4 cleanup crew kind of thing and got all these locals to kind of band together where they're organizing. We're going to go out there and clean this up so we have a nice place if we need to go to. And it's bringing where she's had City of Angels council members telling her that she's done more in a couple weeks starting this group than they've been able to do in the past year and things like that, where hopefully our resources don't get destroyed, but it's nice to know that there is some people that are trying to kind of preserve it.
A sense of community is very important, but it's an issue when when your community is becoming flooded with people that think that the government needs to be taking care of it.
Yeah.
Or or that they just don't even need to be a part of it. And it's that attitude so people like her, what she's doing is obviously positive, and she wants to keep this place a nice area, but
it's also
unfortunately when people move, they
yeah.
move with their laws too.
Yeah.
You know, it's Idaho had like a thing where the governor or somebody said, you know, you moved from California to get away from California. Don't bring your laws here.
Yeah.
You know, don't try and push it. Like that was the reason you moved.
Yeah.
It's getting bad here, man. I just had a conversation with my mom. I was like, when can we schedule a date for you to watch the kids for a little bit? Like we want to go possibly look at some backup states. Like it's getting to the point where that might be a reality.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's the most expensive state to live in.
Yeah.
We're not getting anything now that everything's shut down. Oh, so we were watching that Spectrum show,
Yeah.
and the one kid, I think his name's Michael, where he goes on the date where she kind of like has an anxiety attack a little bit
Oh, yeah.
in the restaurant. And well, that restaurant, I was like, God, that restaurant's beautiful. You know, like I would love to sit down there with Gabby and have a meal. And I was like, oh, it kind of reminded me of Monterey. So I'm like thinking, cool, maybe we can plan a Monterey trip and Taya can come with us, and then she can babysit, and you and I can go have a dinner date. Nope, that's right. Nope, that doesn't exist here.
Yeah.
You know, if I go to Texas, it exists. You can go inside of a restaurant. There's Oklahoma. There's plenty of other states that you can do that to, and they seem to be having fine, okay times with their numbers.
Yeah.
You know, let alone the fact that the numbers are fucking skewed, anyways. You know, I mean, they're just. I don't even want to go on this tangent. I was doing this episode to not get into it, but that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So
we always look at the fact that with how Kapavi was raised, and like even now, her dad lives in the middle of the forest pretty much out. He has 60 something acres completely off the grid that's paid for.
Yeah.
And we have that kind of fallout that we know we can survive if we move up there. We can. He said that if we want to build something,
you
that
can,
we
but here's the issue: is even though you're in California, so say you and Kapavi want to go on, and I'm talking from experience. I'm not talking about anything I haven't received in the mail myself. Say you and Kapavi want to go on a vacation, like most families do every year, every other year or something. Say you want to take the kids for 2 weeks across the state or something, and it happens to be during the school year. Well, if you don't only take your allowed time out of school, you will get a letter or a summons in the court to bring you into court to punish you for truancies.
Yeah.
Because of California state policy now. And I've gotten threats like, hey, your child has missed. And it was like throughout a time period, it was like 4 or 5 days or something like that, throughout like so many months. And we had, you know, there was like days where we couldn't, or we just took the kids and on a little day, or they were sick. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, because of that policy, they believe that you should be able to be punished criminally because you went on vacation, or you didn't have your kids in school for the right amount of days. Obviously, I think kids should be in school. I'm not saying keep them out forever, but you will get threats. You will get little warning letters or little things that are saying we're about to take you to court.
Yeah.
And they can here. Other states they can't.
I feel like homeschool's going to be on the rise, especially with. I mean,
I already told you we're doing
you
it.
You guys are, and like that's. I look. My older brother does that. He works remotely, so they bought a fifth wheel, condensed down to that, so they can travel around, see stuff, be able to do things with the kids. But
there's teachers that are terrified.
Yeah,
and this thing's making everybody panic.
Yeah,
teachers are about to strike because they don't want to go back because they're showing pictures of crowded hallways in campuses of kids shoulder to shoulder waddling through. My mom's brother, who my daughter's named after, he was rebuilding a 58 Apache. And he died in a hunting accident. And my mom took it on, and they're having it finished right now, and it's like being professionally finished. Like stupid. Like for what I want to probably sell this C10 for is what they paid for the motor and training. And they bought they had a custom frame built and shipped from the Midwest, like with all suspension. It's gonna handle like a Corvette.
Yeah,
like it's. I guess the guys at the shop up in Sacramento are like drooling over the frame. Like literally, it's one of. It's a little over the top.
Yeah,
you guys had a fuck ton of cars.
Yeah, that was my grandpa Weagle on my dad's side with another one of his cars.
What is this one?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's early Mopar. That's what he was into. He was telling me stories because all my grandparents grew up in the LA area, So, like, he had these custom cars. That's my grandparents on my mom's side next to my grandpa's shoebox.
That's an awesome photo.
Yeah, my grandma's 17 right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to see what we're looking at, I'll have this on the YouTube.
Yeah, it's
episode.
that's same Monaco, same Galaxy, lowered, primered out, all the handles, everything shaved on it.
You don't need those.
I don't need those.
You don't need those headlight bezels. There's
I
plenty
might
out
actually even have a spare set sitting somewhere.
Well, if anybody has headlight bezels for a 67 Fairlane Galaxy, give me a call. Cuz I'm looking. Yeah. That's fucking I'm having such a hard time finding those bezels.
Yeah.
And we got a package. Dude, this house is hopping today.
Nice. I was happy. I had 3 packages not show up that said they were delivered, and the house next door that nobody lives at, the lady that owns it, showed up Saturday, and she's like, "Hey, I think these are your guys's." So I'm like, awesome. Trying to deal with that whole thing of not receiving packages that said they were delivered.
Yeah. Shipping's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Everything's all fucked up.
Yeah.
I love this little mini war that everybody's on right now, whether or not we should vote by mail only.
Yeah.
Or it's just this little push to mail-in voting, and I'm just every time I'm thinking, because they just had like the USPS say that they could handle the load of the voter, you know, and I'm just thinking, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't handle my Amazon packages without fucking them up. It's like I've had more deliveries messed up with Amazon this past few months than I have had this entire time I've ever had Amazon.
Oh yeah.
My mail's all screwed up.
With the packages showing up to the wrong house, the next day I had a package show up to my house, and they yeah, it's
wild stuff, man.
Yeah.
But no, the accessibility though to I love the accessibility to car parts and having them shipped to you.
Yeah.
Because that's some stuff that was like, you remember remember the slips? Do you remember like in the center of the catalog you used to have the slip?
Oh yeah,
and
then
you
you write the part number and
there
everything.
was like so you were screwed if you had to order more than 12 parts because
and now it's just like you have the Summit app on your phone, you pick everything, and it's the next day it's
or
at your
you had
house.
to literally call
Yeah.
during business hours with your credit card and then tell the person, I want this part number. Okay, I want this part number. I can do all this shit with my finger now.
Yeah, and especially if me having shitty handwriting, I'm glad I don't have to write out numbers and send them in.
And we're literally talking about what, 15 years?
Yeah.
Maybe less than. I think just about a little less than 15 years ago it was almost all that.
Yeah.
It was literally just write the parts or mail your stuff in with a check or a money order, you know, and because before then
yeah, I remember like 15 years ago just like finding a few websites for car parts just started to, and it was hit or miss. They were hard to navigate. It was well, maybe I'll get my package.
It was like 3.
Maybe
you had
I
like
won't.
3 to choose from, basically. Now you can order from anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone in the world you can get them.
No, and then with the rise of online forums about cars, things like that, being able to have those networks of people that are only into one thing. So if you need a piece of advice or a part, you have this whole community of that 10, 15 people are like, yeah, I have one of those if you need it, or oh, I did this on mine. And
I joke all the time. I say I have a PhD in the university or from the University of YouTube.
Well, I look at like YouTube, and I remember when I was a teenager learning how to play guitar, and all the people generation above me were like, oh, this tablature stuff makes it too easy. It's just numbers. You don't have to read sheet music or just listen to figure the songs out. I mean, I still struggled learning this and that because it wasn't a perfect system.
No.
Now it's like if I want to learn a song, I hop on YouTube. There's someone playing it, and everything's
slow
right
it
there.
down,
And I'm like, there's
rewind,
no
pause.
reason why not everybody's going to be able to pick up a guitar other than if you're missing fingers.
There's zero reason for anybody to not educate themselves on
anything.
Oh yeah,
Zero.
I mean, I use YouTube all the time doing stuff around the house, putting together the trampoline. Figured out a little hack off of YouTube of using a caulking gun and using the hook part of the handle
to pull the springs.
To pull the springs closer, and I'm like, this just saved me a ton of time.
Makes
like
sense too, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them. The screwdriver trick wasn't gonna work. It was too much of a gap, and I'm like, oh, YouTube showed me this.
Having one of those springs. Have you ever had one of those fly off?
Oh yeah.
I had one go into the side of a modular home once at my friend's house. Like it just went fing, just shot, and I was thinking to myself, what if that was one of us? It would have went into us.
Yeah.
Like holy shit, I love trampolines, but that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like those can be dangerous as hell. We were jumping so hard on one, and my buddy had a hole in it. It went right through. I mean, we just tore it all the way up and went straight down. We used to have wrestling matches, all kinds of stupid shit.
I remember as a kid being at these people's houses, and it was set up with their above-ground pool and trampoline that you ran off the deck, hit the trampoline, and launched somebody else into the pool kind of thing.
And as soon as that trampoline got wet, everybody's ass goes slipping and sliding.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we're looking for a trampoline for the kids. I know they loved it.
Yeah.
If we get one, though, we have to have that stupid net.
The one I just set up has the safety net and everything.
It's only a matter of time before they tear it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, till somebody goes into it too hard. Or
yeah.
It really is. There's not a really strong way to support that.
No.
Not without, like, a ring around the top.
Yeah.
You know, to hold it all. That's the only way I could see that.
Yeah, I figured within the year that'll be.
I gave you 2 months.
Yeah,
I gave you 2 months.
Honestly, I'm surprised it's still up. It's,
you gave yourself a bit of time.
Yeah, I feel like because I put in a swing set, one of the big web disc swings, stuff like that. It's not as much use on the trampoline as when we just had a trampoline. So that might be part of it, but at least the kids are getting outside and doing something too.
It's true. It's true. That's what we had to cap video game time. But we're making them do more stuff. You know, we're going out and making them do stuff. Literally learning. I don't know. I think I feel like I got really sucked into the digital culture and, you know, not teaching the kids real important things.
No, and that's we're trying to get the kids out, do something at least once a week, take them someplace new, and it was like all of us going up to the hot springs, letting them experience something that they've never experienced before, and telling them on the way up there how the why the hot springs are hot and things like that. And I mean, even just getting out in nature a little bit. Yeah, that's why we're lucky we live where we live, where we have river access, lake access. We can be up in the mountains. If we want to climb a mountain, there's one.
Well, that's what
climb
I mean.
Not too far
that's
away.
Exactly what I mean by this whole this crap. This pandemic is just pushing people here, and it's hard to not get territorial.
Yeah,
it really is. It's really hard not to.
I find myself getting so annoyed, but I'm like, they're doing the same thing that I want to be doing too, and
they are, and they're not, because a lot of them are being super disrespectful.
Yeah, and that's my big issue with it is seeing the garbage that's left places. And I mean, maybe part of it's from growing up poor, where we took our garbage to the dump. We don't just think that someone's magically gonna come pick it up, and knowing that, hey, you leave garbage outside a dumpster above Arnold, a bear's gonna destroy it and drag it everywhere, kind of thing.
Yeah.
If the dumpster's full, I'm gonna take it with me back to my house and throw it away, not leave it on the ground. And it's like every time we've gone out, I've picked up other garbage on my way back out.
We sound like a bunch of old codgers complaining about people littering, but it is like you know, when you have kids and you're actually really trying to enjoy your day, or like do something fruitful, you know, something that, especially right now, like that's why we were saying, I know you don't watch sports, huh?
No, not
really.
really.
See, and that's one of the reasons why I'm having such a hard time is because the lack of sports is getting to me because there's no camaraderie. There's no like hoorah and like just like rooting and having a good time. No decompress, and that's kind of for a lot of people. That's what sports is. It's a way to like get excited about something.
Well, that's why I feel like with the cars, this is the perfect time for people to be picking up projects.
They are.
You get that sense of accomplishment, that sense of...
That's what people are doing.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to come by parts because of that.
Yeah.
That's the reason. And that's one of the reasons everybody's working on their projects that are sitting or they're selling them.
Yeah.
It's
because I have noticed that too. A lot of these hard to find parts are popping up for sale. Yeah, they're too much for what it is, but all the stuff people have had in storage for years are like, oh shit, I need to sell some stuff to help pay for bills. So that it's starting to pop up. That like one of the things that I used to it was a struggle to find would be the teeth for the grills of the DeSotos, and now I'm seeing them pop up in complete grills and stuff, and I'm like, who's had all these in their storage locker all these years?
Well, what's happening is everybody needs a paycheck.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm serious. I'm serious. When you lose your job or you lose your income, and then you're sitting around your house, I see it all the time on Facebook. Everybody's, we have a mirror for sale. It's only $100 and something. Well, so's the one at the store. You know, like it's, but everybody's starting to hurt because they either don't want to work, or they can't work, or whatever. But then they look at their stuff around their house. They go, I'm not using that. Or their wife is going, are you going to be working on that car anytime soon now? Or can we sell some pieces of it? Because we need to pay our rent. Or we need to pay our mortgage. Or we need to pay our car payment. I mean, so people are like, let's
with the amount of consumerism and people living above their needs, it's really starting to show because of stuff like that. Like, I know I have things that I don't really need and want to spend money on them, but I know I could also live without them. I have in the past, and a lot of these people are just starting to realize, like, oh, I don't need a new phone every 6 months because
oh, I'm already there. I'm already at old man status where I'm like, my phone works fine.
Yeah,
I don't need a new one,
and
it's paid off.
Just like I look at like even just electronics around the house, things like that. A lot of them, I'm like, do I really need this here? I'm like, I could be using this time on doing something that's permanent to improve our life.
Dude. I have like this weird, I don't know if this is even a disease or not. I have this weird thing where I'm almost terrified to go to sleep because I feel like I'm wasting the time that I have.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of it stems from some shit that happened in college where I got a lot of shit, just time stolen from me. And but I almost have to pass out. I'll stay up and do whatever I can, whether it's writing or editing or doing whatever, but I have this like weird fear of missing out a life, I guess, or something like that. Even when everybody's asleep, if I tell myself I need to get up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and start doing some work or get something done, and I wake up at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, I feel like I just defeated myself.
Yeah. No, I completely understand.
No,
that.
I do.
And I've noticed with myself over the past 6-7 years, I've gotten where I don't want to sit around. I want to do things, and I feel like if I don't wake up early,
I feel
I'm
disappointed
like,
in myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. I really feel disappointed in myself.
Yeah, and it's like if I'm not at work, I'm doing something work-wise around the house, around the property, and it's like having that, and actually, if I don't accomplish something, if I halfway finish something and run out of time, I do feel defeated. I feel like I failed with it, where I just keep going and going, where
it's like watching
I know I need to
movie.
sit down and have a break, but at the same time I shouldn't.
It's like watching a bad movie. you spend 2-3 hours on a bad movie and
Uh-huh.
you feel robbed.
Yeah.
You do. You feel like I would have liked to watch anything else or have been doing anything else. You know, like
Yeah.
that was a total waste of my time. Like, you know, like that feeling at the end of the movie, you're like, the fuck?
Oh yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What did we just watch? You know, Gabby and I actually just watched a movie like that, and we're gonna, think, record an episode. We watched like 3 movies, and then we're gonna talk about them.
Uh-huh.
But we watched a movie where it ended, and she's like, "The hell was that?" You know, like
Yeah.
what in the hell? And sometimes I like that. I like that obscure stuff. But
Yeah.
the point is, you feel robbed. You feel like you're not gonna get that time back. It was a total waste of my time. I really wish we would have watched this other movie. You know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel if I don't do something.
Yeah. I mean, even when I do sit down and watch stuff, for the most part, unless it's something that I'm learning something, some documentary, things like that, I have a hard time even justifying sitting down and watching it. Where we do watch movies every so often, and it's hard for me to fall asleep without watching The Office before I go to sleep, which
Office is great.
I've seen
Yeah.
so many times. It just relaxes me because it's so familiar.
I have
But,
to watch
like, during the
documentaries
day,
when
I-
nobody's around.
Uh,
I can't watch it when other people are around because people talk, and then it's like,
yeah.
wait, what? Wait, what? What? The universe does what? You know,
Yeah.
you're like, you rewind and it takes you out of it. But when it's just me, or if I have headphones on, oh yeah, I can get psyched into a documentary.
Yeah.
Big
I've
time.
noticed, like, even if I'm doing something in the house and I put on TV for background noise, I'll put on something like that, and I take in a lot of it. I have really good retention to information that I hear or read, so
I have to be zeroed in.
so I retain quite a bit of it, but it's, yeah, like during the day, if I'm in, like, I need to do something on my phone, like ordering for work, things like that, have on something a little educational or a documentary, and it helps me focus on what I'm doing, and I don't feel like I'm just wasting my time either.
Yeah. I like a good movie.
Yeah.
But that's also the stuff I'm into. You know, we do films
Yeah.
and stuff. So when I watch a good movie, I do take from it. I'll be able to be like, I like that edit, or I like that trick, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll be able to take something from it. But I do like a good movie. I hate a bad movie. I hate
Yeah.
wasting my time on a bad movie or a bad TV show. Or a TV show that you really like and for 2 seasons and then they cancel it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of my favorite comic books growing up as a kid was Cloak and Dagger.
Uh-huh.
And then they made a show, Cloak and Dagger. They made it 2 seasons or 3. I want to say 2. And they canceled it.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of good. I was like, they were tying it into the Marvel universe.
That's how I feel about, like, the show Freaks and Geeks. Like, I thought it was good, and then it was only a couple seasons.
There's a lot of shows like that where
Yeah.
they'll have 2 seasons and I like them, and then they just nothing.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, man, cars.
Yeah.
Cars. I'm fried. I'm
Yeah.
fried from working this weekend, and
Yeah, same here.
yeah, you're probably fried too. I'm ready for things to go back to normal. I'm
Yeah.
tired of everybody. Tired of going to the store and feeling like it's a war zone.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. It's like war tactics in shopping.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck. Everybody's mean. Everybody's out there for themselves. I mean, everybody's pushing carts. Just like you're not even there.
Yeah. And
And
then just not being able to find the things you need because everybody's stockpiling, or I feel like people see that there's only 3 of something left, and it's like, oh, I need to have that then, because what if I can't get it, even if it's something they don't need?
stockpiling doesn't bother me as much as like this common decency when you go through the first opening sliding doors and they
Yeah.
have the little hand sanitizer wipe down station for your shopping cart.
Yeah.
Everybody just stops.
No.
Look right in the way of the entry. So people that don't go in without shopping carts or just the hand baskets,
Yeah.
we all have to stop and like wait. Just little common courtesy stuff like that. Like it's out the window right now.
Yeah.
About losing it.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, building cars is the only thing that I need to be worried about right now.
Yeah. I'm hoping this winter it's gonna be a good season to work on the cars. Once, because this year it's just been so much focus on the yard, the property, that I don't really have time for that. That when I can't be outside, that's what I want to be doing this winter, and just been slowly picking up the tools, things like that I'm gonna need. Be excited probably next week. I don't know what the holdup is right now. We'll have solar put on our house and the garage, where I'm not going to be worried about running a huge compressor and a welder out there.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I want to have the C10 done before the year is up.
Yeah.
I know it's closing in fast too.
Yeah.
I know it's like August is like that warning light.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, hey, holidays coming.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, every year we say as soon as September hits, everything from September is like a blur.
Yeah.
October, you have Halloween. November, Thanksgiving. December, Christmas, and then New Year's. And it's just like you wake up on January and you go, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
You're just like, "What? Where did everybody go?"
Yeah.
It's such a blur, especially if you have split families and you're dealing with multiple different schedules.
Yeah.
It's a headache. It's such a headache. Holidays they aren't fun anymore.
No.
And you need to find a way to make them fun. But that goes back to kind of what we're saying, is that simpler lifestyle is when everybody grew up around each other and working on things, and nobody does. Everybody sits around and does this. Yeah, like literally.
And I find
family
myself
functions,
doing that all the time.
Family functions are just like this. Yeah. Okay, auntie.
Yeah. It makes it where, like, even when I'm at home, if someone's in the room, I'm trying to put my phone down, not be on it, kind of thing. And same with being around family and stuff. Leave my phone in the car, which, I mean, it's tough enough because
I'm leaving my
everything.
phone a lot of places lately. I'm over it, man.
Yeah.
I really am. It's like, especially when you film weddings too, and you go to film people, and you're just like, everybody's just on their phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally, it's just footage of people on their phone.
Yeah.
I did one wedding. We filmed and photographed one wedding. I kid you not, dude. I have pictures of it. I'll show you. Dude is on his phone at the altar. I'm not talking about the groomsmen. He's sitting there on his phone, texting. And it wasn't like he was taking a picture. He was literally like posting something or whatever. He was on his phone the entire wedding.
Yeah, that's...
It's a different generation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this right now so that my kids can hear it. If them or my daughter, any of my kids, they get married and anybody in their bridal party pulls out their phone to post or text I'm going to go up there and yank them by the ear or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to drag their ass or grab the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, how embarrassing. That's what I'm saying. There's no common courtesy anymore.
Well, I used to do a lot of hiking, exploring, stuff like that, and I noticed how ridiculous it would get. I'd be somewhere, like, way up in the mountains, somewhere that's somewhat popular, say, like Yosemite, and people are on their phones instead of enjoying what there is a bit. And then with Instagram, everybody needs to this one picture kind of thing, where, like, yeah, I take pictures when I go places, but for the most part, if I'm out in nature, the phone stays in my backpack, in my pocket.
It's all right to post, but but
if
the way I look at it is, don't post while you're doing it.
Yeah,
take photos and do it later.
How many times, like, well, even when we went up to the hot springs, and that one family walked up pretty much just to take pictures at the hot springs and left.
Yep,
like
they
weren't even there to enjoy it, just to post
look at
that they were there.
Yeah.
And seeing a lot of that when I'm out.
That's what I mean. Posting while you're there. It's like, look at me.
Exactly.
Look at me. And like I said, post it, but take your photos and then enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can post it in the car ride home.
Yeah.
If somebody else is driving, you know, or whatever, but you can post it, sit laying in your bed at night.
Yeah.
This is what we did today. Here, you know, like I said, I always say it. I use my Facebook like a yearbook, so that yearbook. We're not even drinking alcohol. Yearbook, and so that my kids can go back and look at those pictures and videos, and they can literally go back to the dates in the year and look at what we posted. But I'm not gonna sit there and post while they're swimming. You know, it's like, what's the point in that? I literally look at people doing that and I go, your kid's still swimming.
Yeah.
You know, like you can go in there and play with them and post that picture later.
Yeah.
It's Instagram will still be there.
Yeah.
Even Trump gave TikTok 45 days. Like, come on, relax. No, it's a different generation and it's getting kind of sick, and I'd like to get my kids back to used to that, because I don't think it's something that like kids will miss if you take it away. I think they'll throw a fit about it, but then they'll realize how much life is better without relying on having your phone with you all the time, posting all the time.
Like this spring, summer, there was a couple times I went 2 weeks, no social media. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, looking through my pictures that I took over the 2 weeks at what I actually accomplished and got done, and it kind of opened my eyes. Like, I've spent way too much time on this.
Yep.
I'm focusing on, what's everybody else doing instead of what am I doing?
Yep. I do the Joe Rogan now. Post and drop. Just post and drop. And just leave it there. And I post it when I can. Like I said, I'll be laying at night, or I'm just like designated hours when my kids are asleep, and or you know anyways, yeah, everybody has to let you know when what you're doing. There's one guy, it's just like, there's one guy on my feed I laugh at so much. It's hard. I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't post his bowel movements. Let's just say that. Like, I really am.
He's got a few friends like that.
Posts
and
everything. It's like, you cracked a second Coke today.
Yeah. Yeah, I got one friend, multiple accounts where he's posting on all of them the same day, liking them from his other accounts. Where Jesus. I'm like, that what I'm like, we might need to have like a intervention for you on this.
Seriously, at what point is that a problem?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm having an issue because my oldest wants a cell phone. And my issue is I agree with him. I agree that he needs one because of the places he's always starting to go out with friends. You know, he's a teenager now. So he's going out and he's hanging out. And what I don't agree with is I put myself in as a teenager and hand me one of these things.
Oh, yeah.
You know where I'm going.
Yeah,
the very first place you know where I'm going. You know, and I'm already worried about that with their computer.
Yeah.
The way it's instant access. You can't block everything.
No, we've ran into issues, not necessarily that issue, but with like the oldest having a cell phone and the amount of cell phone usage, and I don't.
Cell phone usage, I don't care.
We don't see her because it's TikTok up in a room all day long, or this and that. Where
see, that's not. I'm not worried about that because I'll designate it. I'll have it like I'll have like a checkout system.
Yeah.
If I need it, where I have the phone unless they go somewhere.
Yeah.
It's when they go somewhere.
Would be the way to go. Like, little bit of time, but it's especially if it's something.
But how fast before they go to Pornhub or YouPorn? I'm serious.
Yeah.
I have boys.
Yeah.
I know where they're. I'd be a fool to think that I raised them any way proper that they'll never go to anything. I remember
being a teenager, us getting our first computer at the house, and my brother is the first one. My younger brother popped for that, and figuring out ways to go around this. So when my mom would check the history, things like that, and like learning ways where I still did it.
I got caught. We had dial up and I got caught. That's how I've learned about the history tab.
Yeah, we had dial up back then.
But my computer was in my room. They put the computer and because you remember when internet kind of like kicked off, you had to have a separate phone line, or you would get kicked off every time a phone call would come through. So
we had this answering service, so it'd be my mom on there telling us to get off the computer, kind of thing, calling the house, and
yeah, it's okay. So with that, and then it would take an image 5 minutes to download. You know, just one image. There was no videos. Like there was, if you were trying to watch a video, I remember parents were like, forget it, you know, because it was just too long.
Yeah.
But they put it in my
3
room.
hours for LimeWire to download a song.
Yeah, or Napster.
Yeah.
So I got busted with looking at porn on the computer. And I was like, you can look at this kind of stuff? I was like, hell yes. I'll look at one image in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I remember I was looking up a picture of like a country music singer once, and the image took so long to download. My mom like looked down the hallway and into my room, and it was like partially up, and it was like of his face, but close up. And it wasn't fully unpixelated yet or whatever. And my mom's like, what is that? She's like, thought it was some sort of close up on a vagina, I think. And I'm like, it's Clint Black, you know? And she's like, oh. But, yeah, I mean, I did it then. I found a fucking Hustler magazine on the side of the road that got knocked out of a trash can, and I shoved that shit in my bag.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, boobies.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what? So this is high definition videos within seconds, not minutes, seconds, milliseconds sometimes. What do you think these fucking kids are gonna do?
Yeah.
I know what my kid. That's my reserve. That's literally my only reserve. So how do you block that? Because the next thing comes with it's not all set up. If you put the parental controls, it screws up a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have to undo them. And then there's ways around that.
Yeah.
They know ways. Yeah. There's half the time I'm already at the age where I'm asking them for help.
Yeah.
You know, that's my only reserve. That is a there's just certain things you don't unsee.
Yeah.
And the moment they see that in that light, in that aspect, if they haven't already, you're immediately older. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing for if a girl goes through any traumatic experience at any age.
Yeah.
They are immediately no longer a little girl.
Yeah.
No matter what you want to think. Because they might be a little bit here, but they're immediately like, they are aware of sex, they're aware of anatomy, they're aware of everything. They're in one way, shape, or form, they're aware of it. And now their perception of the world is completely different in every single person.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I saw the other day it was talking about like Pornhub, stuff like that, and teenagers, is it desensitizes you.
A false sense of what reality
where it was somebody talking about it takes them so much now to get off, kind of, because of being so desensitized to what's normal, what
have you ever watched
are.
Those documentaries of when porn ends or after porn ends?
I haven't watched it. I have one friend that does porn for like shoots porn, he's not in it,
shoots it,
and he was saying that he's
either way,
he's like, I don't ever want to watch it. He's like, it's what you see is not what's happening, and it's just like there's so many takes, and you're just sitting there, and everybody's just, it's not realistic. Even the ones that seem realistic aren't realistic. You're actually.
You know what they said? I was listening to one, and it was if you watch, there's 2 documentaries, After Porn Ends or something like that. I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen it pop up there.
There's 2 of them, and they follow a lot of famous porn stars after, after, and it's sad. Like listening to the stories, it's eye opening. It's like, Jesus, they were all drugged up.
Yeah.
They were all fucked up all the time. But they were saying now it's so weird, especially with today's culture, because they said back in the day on sets, what would happen was they would get to know each other, the guy and the girl, or the girls and the guy, or the guys, whatever. They would get to know each other and get close to each other and talk and laugh before they shot the scene, and kind of build a chemistry. she said now when they would go on sets, I guess she produces some or whatever. All this is like, ugh, you know, but when you go on sets, she goes, the actors and the actresses, they come in, they're in the green room.
Oh.
And they're like, okay, we're ready for you. I'm like, okay. They get up and they go do it. And they leave and they do their thing. That's it.
Oh.
So they're just so not only desensitized, they're not even there.
Yeah.
You know, there's not even, they don't even know if they're having sex with, who they're doing it with. But, man, that's a rough industry. I mean, watch those documentaries. Those people they have a rough road ahead of them if they don't just love what they do. You know, anyways. But back to my point. Yeah, or your point actually is it desensitizes you to the point where it gives people a sense of what to expect in sex.
Yeah.
And then the reality gets it and they almost are let down.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's it's so yeah, there's it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to keep my kids away from it as long as possible because it is. I mean, it means a lot to me that my kids stay a kid as long as possible. I mean that, like, stay a kid. Kids shouldn't have to worry about their parents arguing or their parents getting a divorce or who's on whose side between disagreements or whatever. They should literally be worrying about if there are cartoons on, you know, or if their friends out and they want to go ride the bike and go swimming with, or those are the things should be processing through children's minds right now.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And that's one of the things I've noticed with kids watching YouTube and stuff, and they're seeing these YouTube stars, and one of the big pet peeve questions, like, because of them, they're like, well, what if we just do this and make $1 million kind of thing, or they get paid all this much for their videos, and like where it's so monetary on why they would want to do anything, and I'm like, be a kid, just enjoy what you
seriously.
enjoy stuff. I'm like, it shouldn't matter what something costs, it's what does it mean to you? Are you getting the worth out of it that it's, I'm like, some $5 pair of shoes at a $500 pair of shoes. I mean, they both do the same thing, but are you really
I definitely learned the deal
with
of a bargain.
$500 pair? Is that really what you need? Is it?
Yeah.
Why not focus more on what you need and what makes you happy?
Agreed.
And that was like, with me going into cooking even, I work construction. I made good money, but I just like, is it really worth the money? I'm like, why not do something?
Were you mentally miserable
enjoy?
or were you mentally like happy?
Miserable, yeah. And I'm like,
because you're
I'd rather
probably
do
physically
something
miserable
that
too.
I can get enjoyment out of, and then like even on my days off, I'm like, why am I to sit around and just be like, oh, I need this for my house? Why not? Instead of having something I might use once or twice, spend that money and go drive to the coast and enjoy myself and do something that makes me happy. And trying to teach that with the kids.
Well, at least when I was in college, there was this show. I think it was on VH1. I'm trying to remember. What it was called. I think it was like cut her off or cut me off or you're cut off or something like that. It's about these spoiled, rich ladies that they basically are forced into a boot camp because their family's like, you're cut off, you're absolutely abusing the credit cards and all this stuff. Like, they're going out and they're going and getting their nails done every week, and they're they do nothing for work, right? And they take all these girls and they all have to live inside of a house like the real world or something. But they're also given like a $500 a month budget to go grocery shopping and all this stuff. And then throughout it every day, they go through these classes where they give them $1,000 caviar and then like $80 caviar, you know, or like just cheap shit. And then they give them Cristal, and then they give them bullshit $12 champagne, and then they give them pate, and then they give them ground up hot dogs, and almost 80% of the girls always pick the cheapest shit that they like the best.
Yeah.
They gave them blind taste tests, constantly like, oh no, I know my drinks. She's like, that's the good stuff. And it was sure enough, it was like $12.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just bullshit. And it showed them how much money, and then they added it up. This is all the money you could have saved, and this is all the money you blew on bullshit that you didn't even like.
Yeah.
You couldn't even tell the difference of,
Yeah.
It was a good show. It was interesting, but yeah, that's to what you were saying. It's like, so when you look at it in that perspective, like do I need Nikes from the Nike store or from Foot Locker, or I'm pretty good with the ones that are on Amazon that are like half discount or what,
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, if you get what you need out of something, you don't have to go over the top. And
yeah, like I can't bring myself to buy a Yeti cooler.
There's no way I would be able to.
Nope. Just the bags alone are $300.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, for what? Like, how much longer does it actually keep everything?
Yeah. How often are you going to need ice for a full week?
Yeah. I like them. No, I'll buy. See, I have a hard time buying the Ozark ones, but those are really nice.
Yeah.
But and those are like a fraction of the cost, and I probably still might buy one.
Yeah.
Because I do like them. I think they do a better job, and they're easier to carry and stuff. But yeah, I'm not gonna go buy a $400-$500 Yeti cooler. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Even if I had stupid money, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would rather buy 5 Ozark ones, or whatever. That's just absolutely obscene to me.
Jose that I work with and I were talking the other day, and he's like, if you won, like, say $10 million, what would you do with it? And I'm like, honestly, I mean, other than cars, just because I love cars and it's something that makes me happy, I'm like, I'd just do work around the property, make it where it's comfortable for us. I'm like, it's not like I would want to go out and buy some ridiculous mansion and the keys or anything. I'm like, I want to buy like a cabin up in the woods or a piece of property so we can build something else. But I'm like, I would focus on just making sure we're comfortable over going out and buying materialistic things. And he was like, yeah, I'd just travel and enjoy myself. He's like, I'm happy. I don't need a huge house. I don't need all these things. He's like, I'd rather go see something that not everybody gets to see, or go experience something that not everybody gets to experience, over having something that barely anybody can
agree.
afford.
That's if I had $10 million, I'd either, like I said, I'd buy.
I told him I was like, the first thing I'd go out buy a Porsche GTR or GT3 or something, just because
I buy property.
Why not? But I was like, for the most part, I'm like, I'd make where we live. I'd pay everything that needs to be paid off, and just
I'd probably buy a property, like a reasonable property in the Midwest somewhere, so you could have it paid off, and then the rest of it I'd probably want to put into a sports franchise, to be honest. Yeah, or some sort of franchise, something that gets a return, but at least gets me closer to owning something like that. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I know 10 million wouldn't buy a sports franchise, but it would get you in.
Yeah,
get you in the door. Anyways, all right, but let's wrap this one up. I think we got about at least 2 hours going.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for coming on, and
thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll talk more cars when we get these cars worked on a little bit further.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Check us out on Instagram. Go to our Facebook page, follow and like us, and please subscribe to our podcast wherever you find your podcast available to you. My next episode will be bringing on my buddy who will be visiting us from prison. Don't worry, he's a correctional officer. So until then, cheers, everybody, and stay sane out there.